Well, good evening, everybody. Doug Bench here with you. This month I'm in north central Florida, having returned from Honolulu and California. Welcome, everybody, to March Mastermind. We appreciate you being with us. We've got some really good information for you this month. And I can hardly wait to get to it. It's so exciting. We're going to go through the steps, the exact steps to train your brain to recognize and look for money-making ideas. Couple housekeeping chores. First of all, number one, we want to welcome any of you who are with us from Hawaii. We did a seminar out in Honolulu, and a whole lot of people signed up to join the Bankroll Your Brainpower team. And I doubt if they're on here live. They might be, because it's 3 o'clock in Hawaii right now, 3 in the afternoon, but possibly, but they certainly will have the recording, and so we want to welcome all of you. Couple dates that you need to mark down if you haven't done so already. If you are anywhere near Ocala, Florida, we are having a Marketing for Millions one-day seminar on the 14th of March. That's a week from this coming Saturday, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. It'll be at the Holiday Inn behind Cracker Barrel there at Route 200, just off of Interstate 75 in Ocala, Florida, the horse capital of the United States. We're going to have a one-day Marketing for Millions seminar. You are all invited if you're anywhere near there, because you are a member of the Bankroll Your Brainpower Mastermind. The investment for that one-day live seminar is $0 for you guys. You get to come free, and you can bring 3 other people with you. You do need to register, though. You do need to register, and there's a special registration page that I sent you all an email today with that special registration page, because for you guys it's free. Don't go to the normal website where the contractors sign up, floridahardhat.com, because that one is for those who are not members of the Bankroll Your Brainpower team, and they pay a cost of $47 for a group of 4. So don't do that. Go to that special page that we have. It's Florida. If you want to write it down real quick, it's in that email I sent you, but it's floridahardhat.com/M, the number 4, the number M again, and then the word Bankroll with a capital B, .htm. floridahardhat.com/M4M, Bankroll.htm, and Bankroll's a capital B. That's where you get to sign up for no cost. We were going to have one in West Palm Beach this coming Saturday, but when I got back from Honolulu and got back from California, where I went to an event I'll tell you a little bit about, where I got a very special award that I'm very happy about, I discovered that I messed up the registration page, because when I checked just this morning to see how many people we had coming to the West Palm event, there were 0. And I went, uh-oh, and I discovered I messed up the registration page. If you come across a mistake on my website, send me an email, let me know, because sometimes I don't see those, and I didn't see it till today. So we had to postpone the one scheduled for West Palm. It will not be the 7th. It will be on March the 21st. So if you are anywhere near West Palm Beach, Boca Raton, Pompano Beach, Lake Worth, anywhere down in southeast Florida, we're going to have a Marketing for Millions one-day seminar there on Saturday the 21st of March, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And that's going to be at the Embassy Suites at 1601 Belvedere, just off I-95. 1601 Belvedere. We've been there many times for our contractor CE classes, so many of you in that area will know what we're talking about there. But that will be on the 21st of March now. And you are sure welcome to come to both of them if you don't mind driving a little bit. You can every time I go to a webinar or a seminar, even if I've been there 5 times, I always learn new things. Never, ever stop learning. And then the big dates you all need to write down. We are going to have our Bankroll Your Brainpower Wealth Summit, the 3-day event, the event of the year, coming up on April 17th, 18th, and 19th. That's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday it'll be just in the evening, 6 to 10. Saturday will be 8 to 5, and Sunday will be 8 to 4. So you can head back towards home. But that's a 3-day event, 2.5 really, starting the 17th, 18th, and 19th of April. I'll tell you a little bit, well, I'll just go ahead right now and tell you a little bit about that event. We haven't had one in a little over a year, but these are phenomenal. Number one, there'll probably be 100 people or so there. We will have a couple expert speakers there to help you with various things. We will go in detail and depth with all of you over the techniques to train your brain to come up with money-making ideas, how to recognize whether it's a good idea. We go into great detail on that we don't have time to do on the Mastermind nor on the one-day events. So you want to be there. We have fantastic fun. Unfortunately, it's not at no cost. We do have quite a bit of expense with the meeting rooms, etc. So there is a cost involved. If you're interested in that event, not a cost, that's the wrong word, an investment in yourself involved. But because you are a Mastermind member, you get it for 50% off. So if you are interested in that, you go ahead and send me an email, doug@brainapples.com, and I'll send you the details. We will be having a couple webinars to talk about everything that's going to be covered at that event. Those will be coming up a little later in March, actually 1 in March and 2 in April, where we can tell you all about those events on a free webinar in an effort to get people to sign up for that event. But if you want the details early, send me an email, doug@brainapples.com, doug@brainapples.com. That's where I do my brain training emails as opposed to Florida Hard Hat. So doug@brainapples.com, and I'll send you the details early. That, once again, is April 17th, 18th, and 19th, and I'll be sending you emails telling you all about it, telling you what the investment is and what half of it is, because that's what it'll cost you. And this is just like my other seminars. We're trying to help as many people as we possibly can. So for the investment, you can bring just one person in your group of 4 has to be a member of the Bankroll Your Brainpower Mastermind. The other 3 members don't have to be. They can be family members, friends, anybody you care for. You can invite to that event and bring them with you, all on one ticket investment, up to 4 people. Right now I just discovered that my PowerPoint is stuck and I can't get it to move. That's not cool. Here we go. Let's see here. Let's just go ahead and end this show, and then I'll move to the slide we want to go to, because we are about to embark on some training about how you train your brain. What are the steps involved? There's 13 of them. Don't be superstitious about that. Here we go. All right. All right, we're going to be talking about the steps involved in the Bankroll Your Brainpower system. For some of you, hopefully for some of you, this will be a review. And of course, as we go through this, if you have any questions, you can type them in the box down there for questions, or you can send me an email, because I have a second computer up, and that second computer I've got logged into my email, doug@brainapples.com. So if you have questions while we're still on the air, go ahead and send them to me there. But you certainly want to get pencil and paper so that you can review these steps, because once you implement these steps and take action on all of these steps, of course, I might add, then you are going to be in a position to come up with money-making idea after money-making idea. All right, here we go. Let's see if I can get this thing to work for me now. Ah, cool. There we go. Step number 1, supersize your greeting. Now, you've heard me say this before many times if you've come to our Marketing for Millions seminars, but this is kind of the foundation for everything positive. Supersizing your greeting means that from now on, every person that you meet on the street, in your office, on a job site, wherever it is, every person you meet, no matter how you physically feel, you tell those people you're doing fantastic, fabulous, terrific, tremendous, fantabulous, or whatever word you want to use that indicates you're great. Now, if you remember the brain research shows that 5-6-year brain believes everything that you tell it as real. And if you tell it enough, over a period of 30 days, that becomes your reality. It's been proven. So step 1, supersize your greeting for everybody from now on. I don't care if you're sick. I don't care if you got diarrhea. What in the world made me think of that? But anyway, it doesn't matter, because 5-6-year brain, if you tell it you're doing fantastic, is going to believe it. You all know the opposite is true. You all know the opposite is true, because think about it. How many times has somebody come up to you and said, "Are you feeling all right? Are you feeling all right? You don't look so good." And you were feeling tremendous. But because they said that, you start to question it yourself. It's why a sad movie is sad, even though you know it's just a movie. 5-6-year brain believes it's real. So turn this around to your advantage. From now on, supersize your greeting, and everything you do is going to be on the positive side. Number 2, write this down. Stomp the ants. Now, this is going to take some effort. ANTS. How many of you remember what that stands for? What does ANTS stand for? If you remember that, put it in the chat box there. Tell me in the chat box what you think that means. ANTS. Dr. Daniel Amen created that, what do you call that, acronym. And that acronym stands for, anybody got it in there? Let me go to the chat and see. Nope, nobody typed it in there. Automatic negative thoughts. I was just reading another study this morning that verified this to be true, that about 80 out of 100 thoughts that your brain originates or generates, about 80 of them are negative. 80% are automatically negative. You have got to put an end to that. Now, supersizing your greeting will help you with that. But the best way to do it is a 30-day period. Remember from our books and our training? A 30-day period where you wear a snapper. Remember about a snapper? That's like a rubber band that you put on your wrist, or one of those yellow or red or green or blue or lavender wristbands. And every time your brain speaks, thinks, or hears a negative thought, snap your wrist and then turn it into a positive. Turn it from a negative into a positive. If you do that, and of course it's impossible to do it every second of every day, but if you give it a good go for 30 days, guess what? Your thoughts are going to turn to the positive. And that's really going to help you come up with money-making ideas too. And I'll tell you something that goes along with that before we go to number 3 here. I'll tell you something that goes along with that before we do trigger a thunderstorm. And that is that when you go through the process of stomping these automatic negative thoughts and you turn it into a positive, you're going to take action automatically on each of the ideas you come up with. Now, many times, even if you learn to stomp the ants, many times you're going to say to yourself, or even out loud, I mean, that's such a simple idea. Somebody's probably already thought of that. Somebody's probably already done that. You know what? I read a study that indicated that at least 70% of the time, no, they haven't. But nobody does it because everybody says that. So if you catch yourself coming up with a great idea and you think to yourself or even say out loud, somebody's probably already done that. 2 things. 1, they probably haven't. And even if they haven't, you know, if you remember way back in CE class for the contractors, we had, by the end of August, we had August of last year, 2014, we had 137 people that have taken our Bankroll Your Brainpower system and turned it into at least an extra $1,000 a month idea, at least a $12,000 a year idea. And probably about a third of those ideas were not original ideas. They were improvement upon ideas that already existed. So one of the best skills you can develop in your brain is not to come up with original ideas, but to improve on an idea that already exists. I mean, we all remember the saying, build a better mousetrap. Well, yeah, that can be a tremendous success story. It reminds me of a couple contractors from the Fort Myers, Lee County, Florida area. They came up with an idea looking at our number 1 secret source of ideas, which we're going to tell you about here in a minute, which most of you know, the USA Today newspaper. They came up with an idea after reading an ad in that USA Today newspaper for the exact same service that they wanted to offer. But they improved it. It was to retrieve golf balls. Scuba divers, they love to scuba dive and golf. And their idea was to get contracts with golf courses in Southwest Florida, because there's 1 million golf courses with 1 million ponds and lakes in Florida. So with that, they, oops, let me click that thing off there. They improved an idea. And in 2013, they retrieved over 1 million golf balls, and they were online to retrieve over 1.5 million golf balls in 2014, and I'm pretty sure they met that goal. And you can do the math because they got 21 cents a ball, no matter what the condition. But anyway, if you find yourself saying an automatic negative thought, somebody else has probably already done it, boom, take that as an exciting step in the positive direction and improve on the idea, or make sure that somebody else has done it. You can do it, whether it's a new idea or an improvement of an existing idea. All right, number 3, write it down. Trigger a thunderstorm. When you are supersizing your greetings, or when you are about to do, I think it's number 4, I'll tell you in a minute, if you're going to study your affirmations, which we call Interstate, these are things you say to yourself over and over in front of a mirror every day for 30 days to automate the process in your brain. Before you do that, I want you to trigger a thunderstorm. Now, if you remember what that means, and if you don't, I'll tell you what it means. The brain releases proteins when it's highly emotionally charged, and proteins act as a fertilizer for new connections. So if you're trying to learn something new or train your brain to do something, if you are in a highly charged emotional state before you learn it, the learning will be stronger, longer lasting. The connections that you're creating in your brain, there'll be more of them, so you'll have a greater capacity for achievement in that area, and the firing threshold of those neurons are lowered. Therefore, it's much more easily recalled. Wow. Well, what's trigger a thunderstorm mean? That means get yourself into a highly charged emotional state. There are many, many ways you can do it, and it doesn't have to be real. It can be artificial. You don't have to go out and have something bad happen. You don't have to go out and have something really good happen. Just sit down in a chair and imagine or reminisce about something really good that's happened in your life, or even something really bad. Doesn't matter whether it's a positive or a negative. Both cause a release of proteins which will make your learning stronger and much longer lasting. Sometimes I'll sit in a chair and reminisce about the day I walked my daughter down the aisle at her wedding. Whoa, what an emotional time that was. My one and only daughter. Or about the day, this is, holy cow, I hate to think about how many years ago this was. This was 45 years ago, when I was a high school science teacher and a football and track coach. Our track team was undefeated my last year of teaching, 47-0, and they won the state championship. So I sit and close my eyes and reminisce about receiving that trophy. Oh, gives me goosebumps right now. So it can be a positive, it can be a negative, it doesn't matter. So I've even sometimes triggered my thunderstorm just by listening to a certain song that's very emotional. Music can be highly emotional, you know. So you've got to trigger a thunderstorm when you're going to learn something new, or when you're, number 4, paving your interstates. Write it down. Number 4, pave your interstates. Now, interstates, is a play on the word interstates, a road, R-O-A-D. And where I got this was, if you have a set of neurons that fire together automatically in your brain, that set of neurons is called a neurode, N-E-U-R-O-D-E, neurode. So I came up with this, learn to pave new roads of neurodes, and the name interstates. These are things you say to yourself over and over, out loud, and preferably in front of a mirror, because that helps you trigger a thunderstorm. And it doesn't even matter in the beginning. Now listen carefully. It doesn't even matter in the beginning if you believe you're interstate. Here's an example of an interstate. I am fantastic fantastic at reading the paper and recognizing things people want or need. Boom, that's an Interstate. I am also tremendous at taking these ideas of what people want or need and turning them into a money-making idea. So you don't even have to believe that right now. But you got to be careful. There's a set of rules that go with paving your interstates. Now, all of you, if you have my Bankroll Your Brainpower system, have my books, Revolutionize Your Brain and Do-It-Yourself Brain Surgery. And in both of those books, there are certain rules that you must follow in creating your interstates. They must be in, for example, we don't have time to go through all of them. You can go back and review it in my books or on the audios that you have, the audio lessons about paving new roads of neuroads, pave your interstates. It's got to be a positive. You cannot have a negative in there because 5-6 year brain, remember, believes everything that you send into it. And if you send in a negative, it's going to believe that is real. The classic example is when you pour a toddler a glass of milk and you tell that child, don't spill the milk. Whatever you do, don't spill the milk. 5-6 of their brain exactly sees a picture of spilling the milk. So you can't use negatives when you're paving your interstates. You should never, for example, phrase an interstate like this: I will not read the newspaper without coming up with money-making ideas. Excuse me. No, that's crazy, because 5-6 year brain sees the negative. So there are several other rules about your interstates. They got to be in the present tense, not in the future tense. I will be very good at recognize what people want or need. No. The future never happens in 5-6 year brain, so you've got to be in the present tense. I am. Very, very powerful. Now, a lot of people ask me, Doug, how many interstates should I try to train my brain at any given time? Well, I tell you, I've not seen anything on that in the brain research other than metaphorically or anecdotally from myself and some of our students. I have never been successful at repeating more than 4 interstates at a time. My preference for a 1-month period, my preference is 3, but I've done 4 and made them work. We've had students that even have done 5 and make them work, but I prefer 3, at the most 4. So now if you want some help with that, you can come up with your proposed interstates and then send them to me. And I'll take a look at them to see if they're phrased right, if they meet the rules. We'll help you guys with that. No charge. All right. I'm just clicking up on my emails to see if I've got any questions so far in emails, and I don't have any yet. Okay. Pave your interstates, number 4. Number 5. Whoa, is this a biggie? Now remember what we're doing here. Some of these relate to our previous system, Mind Your Brain, to increase your productivity, your performance levels, your memory, and your achievements. But now we're focusing all of this towards coming up with money-making ideas. And number 5 is important. Now, if you are a contractor, a lot of our students are contractors because, of course, we speak to over 5,000 contractors a year. And if you're a contractor, you're very lucky because your creativity and imagination and visualization skills are very, very good. If you are a builder, if you are a remodeler, you have to visualize what you're trying to do or you couldn't build it. So you have a lot of those skills. The rest of us, me included, I don't or didn't have those skills. As a matter of fact, the brain science says that about, listen to this, 92% of adults, by the time they reach the age of 40, have lost the majority of their brain's connections for creativity, imagination, and visualization. Wow, that's the bad news. The good news is you can get those back. You can get those back. VCR here is an acronym that stands for write this down, visualization creates reality. You can become a pro at visualizing and imagining. And of course, you see how important this is if you're going to come up with money-making ideas. You have to have the neuron connections in your brain to do that through your imagination and your creativity and your ability to visualize things. In our Mind Your Brain system, which if you have our Bankroll Your Brainpower system, all of you have, we give you some exercises you can do to create new connections for creativity and visualization. I've got here, turn off the lights. That's one thing you can do. You can be in your office, you can be in your living room, or in a doctor's office, and look around the room, then close your eyes and visualize where everything is in that room, from people to doors to windows to pictures to chairs to magazines, everything. Now, don't do this out somewhere. You might get hurt and people are going to think you're crazy. But some of the things my wife and I do is literally, if we're getting ready to go to bed, for example, we'll turn off all the lights in the living room. And then we have to go upstairs with our eyes closed without killing ourselves. You will not believe how good you can get at this. You will not believe how good you can get at this if you practice it. And when you do that, you are creating brand new brain cell connections. And you should trigger a thunderstorm before you do this as well, because the brand new connections will be stronger, longer lasting, more of them, and the firing threshold lowered, and you'll be better at creativity and imagination. One extremely fun and good technique that we teach that people in our live seminars love to do is of course, they have pencil and paper in front of them, and we give them a piece of music, an instrumental piece of music. One that I can think of offhand is the theme song from the movie Forrest Gump. And we'll play about 6 to 8 minutes of that music and tell them, listen to this and be thinking about this. We're going to play it a second time, and we want you to create a story that goes along with the flow of the music and write it out on any subject. You know how if you're at a movie theater and you close your eyes and you hear the music that's playing in the movie, you can tell if it's something scary coming, if it's a chase scene, if it's a romantic scene. Music can be very, very emotional. And if you listen to a piece of music that ebbs and flows with emotion and up-tempo, slow tempo, sad tempo, whatever, if you practice coming up with a story and writing it out, literally, as you play that music, that is a phenomenal way to increase your ability to visualize, be creative, and imaginative. It is so, so powerful. I cannot emphasize how powerful this can be. And you can go back into our books or our audio systems and review this because it is extremely powerful. Number 6, get weird to get wired. One of the greatest, write that down. Notice that the letters in weird are the same letters that are in wired. What this is based on is the greatest brain science discovery so far of all time, neurogenesis, or brain plasticity. If you remember, what that says, what that discovery says is if you stimulate your brain, no matter what your age, your brain's going to form new connections that will increase the total number of connections in your brain, and here's the good part, and increase your brain's capacity for achievement. I didn't say increase your IQ, although that will go up some, but the important thing is it increases your brain's capacity to achieve. And right now, we're working on you building the ability to recognize what people want or need and asking your brain to bring you ideas based on that want or need automatically for making money from it. So when I say get weird to get wired, it means that every day you need to do new things you've never done exactly that way before. Brush your teeth with the wrong hand and so on. Drive to and home from work a different way every time. Why? For one thing, your grandkids, if you have some, will call you weird. I love it when my grandsons call me weird. Grandpa, you're weird. Thank you. Thank you very much. That means I'm forming new connections in my brain. If I'm doing something quote unquote weird or new, and that's increasing the connections in my brain and increasing my brain's capacity to achieve. This is phenomenal, you guys. There are studies now that have even said and shown that if you are constantly stimulating your brain with new information, new ideas, new movements, new things that you've not done that way before, you can literally build up what they are calling a neural reserve. A neural reserve is a surplus of brain cell connections that you can call upon in the future to take the place of those that are atrophying from age, for example. When I was out in San Diego, California a few years ago at Dr. Daniel Amen's neurological clinic, he's very well known, written several books on the brain. They took a scan of a brain image of my brain, and he said, Doug, you don't have any brain cells. You got the brain of a 30-year-old. You don't have any brain cells over 10 years old. Well, that's freaking fantastic. So get weird to get wired and create new connections in your brain, and just watch how much better you will be productive and achieve at a higher level and come up with better ideas for products and books and all these things that you're going to come up with. All right. Number 7, listen. Now remember, our goal is to recognize what people want or need. And one of the best ways to do that is after you've trained your brain to believe that you are really good at recognizing what people want or need, and that really, really good at automatically coming up with money-making ideas for what people want or need, you have got to start listening to people. Listening to people. Remember the old phrase, stop, look, and listen? Well, we're going to reverse that. Number 7, listen. Listen to what people are saying, and listen to it in relationship to what people want or need. Because if you come up with an idea to fulfill a want or fulfill a need, both are good. Wants are a little better than needs, but they're both extremely good. And one of the ways to do that is, for crying out loud, just listen. Number 8, look. Write it down. And underneath this one, put USA Today newspaper. I strongly urge you to get a subscription to the USA Today newspaper, either online. I prefer the physical copy because it involves more of your senses when you're reading it and it's physically in front of you. But I want you, this is going to take some time, so you may not have time to do it cover to cover every day. But certainly go through some of it every day, looking in the paper, not for the news, not because you want to buy something that's in one of the ads. And I do want you to look at the ads too, because you can see what people want or need in many of those ads, and your brain's going to come up with an idea to improve whatever that ad was for, like the U.S. Golf Ball Retrieval Company from Fort Myers. They saw an ad for a website called lostgolfballs.com, and they patterned their business after that idea but made it better, and they're making good money doing that. So number 8, look in the newspaper, but don't be looking for the news. Forget that. It's all negative and half of it's lies, you know that. Look at the articles for, is this about something people want or need? Is there something that could fulfill this need? Man, a classic example is one of our students who read the headline on the front page of the USA Today that said, nearly all toddler child car seats fail the U.S. national safety standards. Boom. That gave her an idea. Now, when you start coming up with ideas, you got to be practical. I'm going to go to our passion wheel in a little bit here as a final reminder, if I get enough time to show you the 8 categories that you can come up with money-making ideas from. And, if you saw that headline, you might say, whoa, well then let's build, because the article went on to say that there are only 2 car seats manufactured that pass the U.S. standards, and neither one of them are made in the USA. So you could think, whoa, let's build a safer car seat for children. No. That's way freaking too much work. What Amanda Elliott came up with was, how about an ebook for the parents of toddlers written by an expert on how to buy the safest car seat for their toddlers and have it installed properly. And that doggone book, let's see, it's been on the internet over 2 years now, 2.5 years, I think, and it's approaching $30,000 in sales, over $10,000 a year. That's astounding. She came up with that idea instantly. And what an easy idea to get an ebook written. That'll be a subject for another night, but man, oh man. So, number 7, listen. Listen to what people are talking about. Listen to what people are complaining about. Listen to your spouse. I'll never forget this. My wife and I were out mending fences. Fence boards that the horses break or something. And as we were nailing that on a very hot day, she says, somebody ought to invent. And boom, as soon as she said that, my brain's going ding, 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 ding. Somebody ought to invent. Oh, this sounds like you're going to think somebody already has. And what she came up with was an idea for a sleeve that fits over a broken fence board to temporarily mend that fence. Let's say if the husband's not around and can't mend it right away, but you sure as crap don't want to see the horses get out. She now has orders for over 10,000 of those things. So you've got to listen to what people say and look in the newspaper. Look in the newspaper. not for the news. And stop. Number 9 is stop, and that means think. Now, I hate to use the word meditate for number 9. I apologize. I didn't mean to click on number 10 yet, but we'll go back to that passion wheel here in a minute. But what this means is stop wherever you're at when this idea hits. And I hate to use the word meditate, but it's similar to that. Think about it. Think about your thinking, and give yourself a chance if you're in a spot where you can. Pull the car over, turn the radio off, turn the TV off, if that's when the idea comes, whatever it is, clear the blackboard, so to speak, clear the slate, and give yourself at least 12 minutes to think about that. Your brain is talking to you. Give it a chance to get through. And then when you recognize the ideas or the possibilities, then go spin your passion wheel. Remember the passion wheel? Let me see if I can find that real quick and pop it up here. There it is. Remember this? I call this your passion wheel. These are the 8 things that you can possibly create based on what people want or need. Let's just real quickly go around that, because I see I'm going to run out of time again tonight. But you can create a book. Now, I prefer electronic books because they are huge sellers these days, but sometimes you need a physical book, typically a paperback. You don't want to spend the money on a hardcover. Don't let your ego get in your way and tell you need a hardcover. You don't. You need a paperback book, or better yet, an ebook or electronic book that they sell for you on Amazon, Kindle. Electronic books are huge sellers, and of course your costs are very, very low for an ebook. Amazon will advertise your book for you. They're going to take a piece of the action, but that's not money you got to put out up front, nor store the boxes of books in your garage like I have to do for my 2 paperback bestsellers, Do-It-Yourself Brain Surgery and Revolutionize Your Brain. Those books are not expensive, but like I order them in batches of 1,000 because I give them away at my live events, etc. And if you get the system, I give you one. And you don't need to hire a publisher for that. Forget that idea. You want to self-publish. The website I use, instantpublisher.com. Over there at about 2 o'clock, you can come up with a CD system. That would be audio recordings that you put on a set of CDs, or videos that you put on the DVDs. Now, of course, those are very, very convenient. You can get a lot on each CD, but if you're traveling or if you get sales from out of your area, it's a pain in the butt to schlep those things around all over the place, whether you're flying somewhere or driving somewhere. So the answer to that is over there at about 10 o'clock, digital downloads. When I went to Hawaii, I took about enough physical books for half of my expected sales. I took 0 CDs. I put all the digital downloads on a flash drive, and you can fit hundreds of flash drives in your suitcase or in your car, but not so many CDs or DVDs. And of course, it costs very little for digital downloads. You can put those audio files on your website, and it doesn't cost you anything for people to click on them and download them themselves, and either burn them to their own CD or put them on their own flash drive. Or you can go ahead and put them on a flash drive. You can get a 1 gigabyte flash drive for about $2.80, for crying out loud. And then you can do coaching and mentoring for your idea. For example, we have a wife of a contractor over in Tampa that loves organic gardening, and that's her hobby and passion. And so she created an ebook on urban organic gardening for people who live in a city that don't have a lot of land or ground or dirt. Fantastic idea. And she coaches people. She has a coaching program for people that she charges monthly for them to seek advice from her. That's phenomenal. She occasionally, twice a year, puts on a workshop for people in Tampa to come and learn the skills of urban gardening. And she also does a monthly newsletter that's called Recurring Income. Recurring income is where somebody subscribes and receives every month or every week or whatever information that you provide them. Recurring income is phenomenal because that comes in month after month after month after month. And then the last thing on our passion wheel is physical products, of course. Is your idea for a physical product? We had a contractor come up with an idea for a railing system to protect his roofing employees. That was a very difficult physical product because step one is you got to have drawings or sketch or specs. Step two, you got to get a prototype made, take pictures of that prototype, and then you got to decide whether you're going to manufacture that physical product or sell the idea. Obviously, my preference is sell the idea to a company and let them manufacture it, let them ship it, let them deal with returns, let them deal with liability. You take the money and run. And if you're interested in creating physical products or you have some skills in that area, there's a book that you all must get with that interest. It's called One Simple Idea. One Simple Idea, and the author's name is Stephen with a P-H, Key, K-E-Y. You have got to get that book if you have interest in physical products. It talks about whether you need a patent, how you find companies or individuals interested in buying your idea, or do you want to license that to somebody? All kinds of information in that book, One Simple Idea, Stephen Key. All right, let's go back to our list, see if we got time to get through it here. And let's see. We're on this page, and we listened, we looked, and we stopped to give your brain time to create the idea. Don't go crazy if you're during your 12 minutes that you're kind of meditating, giving your brain time to work. Don't panic if it doesn't come up with something in 12 minutes. I've learned that your brain does everything you ask it to, but not on your schedule. It's on its schedule. It's like if you go to a reunion and you see somebody that you recognize, but you can't remember their name, and you're begging your brain to bring you that name. It won't until it gets it. Might be an hour later. So it's not on your time. Spin your passion wheel and then test the tools. Excuse me. What test the tools means is go back to steps 1 through 10 and create fake product ideas. Go through the steps so your brain gets used to it. I mean, even if it's like your idea is for a mousetrap, go back to step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 with something that already exists, because what you're doing is you're creating new neuron pathways that when your brain gets an original idea, the pathways will already be there. Way, way cool. And be ready for you. Now, if your idea is for a book or an ebook, you're not going to need much in the way of seed money. If you want to have somebody write a book for you by using Elance or something along those lines, elance.com, if you haven't heard that from me before, I think you probably have by now. That's where there are over, it's probably 500 or more now, categories of experts that will do writing for you and do many things for you. But you'll be shocked at how inexpensive that is. Amanda paid $920, I think, or $950 for that book that she's brought in nearly $30,000 in sales from, for only $950 investment. Where you might need a lot of seed money is if we're talking about a physical product. If you have a need for seed money, immediately send me an email. Tell me about your idea. I swear on my love for my 8 grandchildren, I ain't going to steal your idea. I'll help you get the seed money. We've got some connections in that regard. One of the best ones is Kevin Harrington. You may have heard me talk about Kevin. He was in the original season of Shark Tank. He was one of the sharks. He was a consultant and advisor on that show. He also owns a company called As Seen on TV, which has created infomercials and sales excuse me, on TV of over $17 billion. I first met Kevin when I gave a brain training speech over in London, England, and I've seen him several times since then at different events, including last week, or weekend before last, over in Honolulu. He was there, and we talked and chatted. Excuse me. So he is one of the connections, and there are several. So I can help you get the seed money, and one of the places we can set you up to do that is called Kickstarter, which is a form of crowdfunding. I don't know if you've learned anything about crowdfunding. You could go check out Kickstarter.com or just Google the word crowdfunding, and there'll be tons of information there for you. And then, oh man, write down number 13, because this is very, very important. Doug's 2-step plan for success. Once you've gone through and trained your brain for all of these steps that we've just gone through, 1 through 13, your brain's going to start bringing you ideas. Step 13 is, remember my 2-step plan for success. The more you fail, the quicker you'll get to success. So hurry up and fail. So use Doug's I don't have time to go into it now, we're almost out of time, but there's a particular spot in your brain that on a brain imaging scan always lights up if you fail at something. You know what that means? That means your brain is pre-programmed with excuse me, with an area to deal with failure and to fix it. So hurry up and fail. So my 2-step plan for success, close your eyes and jump. Because it doesn't matter if you succeed right away. In fact, I get excited if I fail, because that just means I'm closer to success. What did Thomas Edison say? He got excited when his idea for a light bulb didn't work, because it meant he was 1 step closer to finding the right answer. You got to look at it that way. Close your eyes and jump. Close your eyes and jump. All right, you guys. That's the end of our session for this month. I don't see any questions over here. Let me check one more time on the email. We're about out of time, though. I haven't scheduled the April Mastermind yet. Let me go ahead and do that. It'll be right after Easter. It'll be Tuesday, April the 7th, 8 o'clock again, Eastern time. And by then it'll be Eastern Daylight Time, won't it? So depending on your time zone, check. And of course, we will record it, but the recording only goes out to those who have registered for the webinar. So even if you can't be on the Mastermind, make sure you register. And again, if you're near Ocala, we've got a Marketing for Millions coming up on the 14th of March. And if you're near West Palm Beach, Boca Raton, we got one coming up on March 21st. And everybody who can, save April 17th, 18th, and 19th for our huge Bankroll Your Brainpower Wealth Summit in Orlando. I don't remember if I mentioned that. It's going to be at the DoubleTree Hotel out by Orlando Airport. All right, everybody. I appreciate you being with us tonight. I hope you got a lot of information from this. You can go back and review just about everything we talked about in our books and our Bankroll Your Brainpower system. Put it to good use. And we appreciate you being here. Send me your comments and questions, even if they come up tonight, an hour from now after you get off of the Mastermind, because I'll send you an email and try to answer them if I got an answer for you. Love you all. Appreciate you all being with us, and we'll see you either Ocala, West Palm, or on the internet. Have a great night, everybody.